Here we are in Innovation Week 2023 with TechNL, and a lot of cool conversations happening. I just caught the tail end of a great keynote address. So, John, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, so I'm John Hill. I'm the Evangelist for Techstars. We're the largest pre-seed investor of tech companies in the world. And my role is to storytell on behalf of the organization and connect into ecosystems, work with founders to generate awareness of what we do, but also support them in their journey, whether they connect with us or not. And that's one of the most important things that we try to do is support entrepreneurs in their journey.
Tell me the importance of storytelling in this whole sector.
Yeah, so if you think about it, like the most iconic brands have told stories that attract people to them. The first Evangelist, and that is my role, it's my title, was Guy Kawasaki, who came out of Apple. And Apple is among the best storytelling companies in the world. Steve Jobs was legendary at that. We try to tell the story of success through our companies, but not just from a financial perspective, but also the good human stories behind the companies that were built. And I think that speaks to kind of the credibility lens of what it's like for a company to go through our process and get into one of our accelerators.
You know, there's no doubt about it. People want to do business with people, and stories matter, and making that emotional connection to people sometimes is very powerful in business, yet I would argue often overlooked.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you talk to startups, they've created a strategic plan. They have an idea of how they're going to move through go-to-market. They understand what they're doing on product development, but very rarely will you hear a startup talking about how to navigate relational capital in a strategic way. And so what I personally try to do is help startups understand the importance of both developing the right relationships around you and then how to effectively navigate them to satiate primary needs, which is funding, talent, customer acquisition, knowledge share, and mentorship.
I stay on the storytelling for just a moment because I'm so fascinated by it. But one thing that I found very empowering for companies is when they allow the employees to tell the story of their company, empower them with you tell us your journey and how you fit into our company. Such a powerful thing.
Yeah. One of the unique aspects of Techstars is we have what are called managing directors. So they're people who are in charge of an accelerator class. So for instance, there's an accelerator program in Toronto. Sunil Sharma is the managing director there. Sunil has a story of success on how he navigated into that position. Our MDs generally have had successful exits as tech entrepreneurs, so they actually know what it's like to go through the whole process, and they can relate that to the companies that they're working for. So their story is integral in the development of those programs, just like Sunil's is integral for developing success of the companies that are coming through Toronto.
Now, I caught a little bit of your presentation about LinkedIn, and wow, you unlocked the power of that tool in front of our eyes in a way I've never seen done before. Leads me to believe that we're just tapping into a small percentage of that. The average person is a small percentage of LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I was a spokesperson for LinkedIn for 3 years, and that's one of the reasons they hired me. It's not necessarily an easy platform to navigate, but if you understand how to utilize it and you can manipulate the data within the platform to find what you're looking for, one of the most incredible tools to actionalize people offline to help you out. And again, as an entrepreneur, if you can identify who the helpers are, it gives you that decided advantage. And that's pretty much what I try to do through that presentation, is help people think about the data, not necessarily the platform as a communication platform. Because at the end of the day, most effective way to communicate with somebody is face-to-face. Second most effective way to communicate with somebody is phone-to-phone or Zoom-to-Zoom or Hangout, right? LinkedIn InMail is probably 11th most effective way to communicate with somebody. So you want to pull that data and the information into those first two buckets, but that presentation that I do there is to show people how you can find the people you need, and then you've got to figure out how to actualize them beyond that.
And I really enjoyed the way that you brought it more back to a personal thing. You say, look, if you're connected to this person, and they're probably more likely to want to connect you, and it's a great approach because it's still people doing business with people.
I don't think that's ever changed, and I think people thought technology would fill that void of people who didn't want to engage or connect with others, but the reality is some of the best people I've seen in the tech space are utilizing relationships at the highest level. And when I say utilizing, they're playing a kind of a game of give and take. So there's got to be some trust that this will go both ways. Right? You never want to use out of your network too much or take, and you want to try to give as much as possible, because that karmic value swings back and supports and helps you out. And I've seen it enough times for successful entrepreneurs to know that there's definitely something there.
Let's tap into that for just a second. Giving into the network, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I mean, there are like really easy things that people can do within a community. Try a product and service. They can make an introduction. They can give advice. They can offer mentorship, and none of those are necessarily a transactional experience through money, right? And the entrepreneurs in your life, they're so rare. There are so few of them globally that you should celebrate them within your community or within your networks and help them out as much as possible. Because what they're doing, most people, if they knew what it was like to go through, would never do it.
Right. You know, you've come to Newfoundland. It's your first time to Newfoundland. Things are really happening here. It's an exciting place to be in a lot of sectors, technology being one of them. What are your initial thoughts about the sector?
So I love technology, and at the beginning of my presentation today, one of the things I talked about is the talent's equally distributed, but opportunity is not, which is one of the reasons it's important for an organization like Techstars to be here, because you have entrepreneurs and startups that are trying to fight for success and go from a local to a global market, and if we're not here or others like us are not here, they're at a disadvantage. And so that's why we make it a mission to show up where founders are, and not force them to show up where we're at.
John, it's been an absolute pleasure to be in conversation with you. I enjoyed the keynote. I enjoyed this one-on-one with you. It's clear that you've got a passion for this stuff. You can see it dancing in your eyes when you speak, so we really appreciate you being on the podcast.
It's an honor. Thank you for the time, and I look forward to another evening here, enjoying the city, but I appreciate you having me here.
Enjoy everything St. John's has to offer. It's a wonderful place.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Pleasure.